And we are live.
Good afternoon, all. Thank you so very much for joining us for today's Milpark Education School of Financial Services Open Day. So it's the third of our open week days. The first day on Tuesday, we had presentations from the school from the financial planning department. Yesterday, we had the risk and insurance department presenting their various qualifications. And today, I'm joined by my esteemed colleagues from the banking department and the investment management department. I am David Fenter. I am the head of school, and I'm really, really excited to have you all joining us today and just to talk through the qualifications which we offer in our school. From a housekeeping point of view, let me see. From a housekeeping point of view, we have at the bottom of the page, there is in front of you, you'll be able to see a register for our S2 intake link, which you can then take to if you're keen on registering for our qualifications in S2. We've also got at the bottom a poll. That poll is for any of you who would like us to contact you with regards to any information on any of our courses. So if you vote yes there, then we'll have your details in the background and we can contact you after the session to answer any questions you have about any of our qualifications. Then the last thing from a housekeeping perspective is we've also got at the bottom a ask a question link. You can go there and you can add one of your questions there. If there's any questions as we go through the presentation today, if you have any questions during the presentations, you can pop them in there. And what we're going to do is we're not going to be answering questions as we go along. We're going to rather leave it till the end. So last 10, 15 minutes of this afternoon's session, we're going to then go back to answering some of those questions. So without further ado, I know Samila can share in the background. We have Samila who can share the slides, and I can hand over to Elmarie van der Westhuizen, who is our HOD for our banking department. Over to you, Elmarie.
Good afternoon, everybody. Also from my side, welcome to this third and final session. As they say, we've left the best for last. That's all I can say about our banking department people and our qualifications. As David had already said, my name is Elmarie van der Westhuizen, and I'm the head of the banking department. I've worked in the banking industry for many years before I joined Milpark in 2010. Just quickly, an interesting fact before we tell you more of our qualifications. Did you know that the well-known saying, knowledge is power, dates back to 1597, when a certain Sir Francis Bacon quoted it for the first time in a book that he wrote. It's now more than 400 years later, and we still quote it every day. We actually also apply it in our daily lives, even more so when we decide to actually study. Gaining knowledge not only allows us to improve on our general knowledge, but it also creates opportunities for us. So with that in mind, our school offers qualifications ranging from NQF 5 to 8. And today we will specifically look at the next 4 qualifications. We will look at the higher certificate in banking, which is at NQF 5. That is our entry-level qualification. After students have completed that, they've got the opportunity then to move on to the advanced certificate in banking services, which is at NQF level 6. And then we'll also talk on our 2 flagship postgraduate qualifications, our postgraduate diploma in banking and our postgraduate diploma in investment management. They both have NQF level 8. And with that, not to waste any further time, I'm going to hand you back to David, who will now give us more background on Milpark education. I hope you find the session informative.
Thank you, Elmarie. I know, for instance, today we worked through this earlier and we saw that we got a heck of a lot to get through today, and I've been told to make sure that I move through it as fast as possible. But now what happened, when Elmarie mentioned one thing, it suddenly something clicked in my mind, which I wanted to mention, which Elmarie alluded to. Something which I wanted to just point out from a point of view of the value add that Milpark education provides within our schools. And primarily, I'm just thinking about the School of Banking and the School of Investment Management today. The nice thing about these qualifications is they are CHE accredited qualifications, but from a faculty perspective, something to keep in mind is that within our faculty, we have hundreds of years of experience within banking, within other financial services, within credit, within investment management, as a combined group. And that is a huge value add, where when you have lecturers and or facilitators who will be working, or tutors that will be working through your various courses, that's something you can know. We're a school run by financial service professionals for financial service professionals. And I think that's a huge value add for us that I always like to kind of punt, because I'm very proud of the group of academics and support team that we have. Okay, so firstly, who are we? We are Milpark Education. We're part of the Stadio Holdings group. So Stadio owns and operates 3 separate divisions. Milpark Education and AFTA are 2 of the institutions which run separately from Stadio itself. And Stadio, under its own umbrella, as a higher education provider, Stadio has a number of departments which are made up of the previously known schools of SBS, Southern Business School, Embry, which is the Teachers Training College, Lysoff, Fashion School, and Prestige Academy. So all of those old historical institutions are basically combined to provide those underlying departments within Stadio. But Milpark Education operates separately from them. So within Milpark Education, we have 4 schools. We have the Milpark Business School, where students can study the MBA and doctoral degrees, as well as the PGDA. We have the School of Commerce, which offers BComs and BBAs, most of our BComs and BBAs with various streams of majors. Then we have the School of Financial Services, which is us. And lastly, we've got the School of Professional Accounting, previously known as CA Connect. As I alluded to earlier, within the School of Financial Services, we have 4 departments: Financial Planning Department, Banking Department, which Elmarie is the HOD of, as we said earlier. We have the Investments Department, and Risk and Insurance. Next slide there, thanks. So Milpark was established in 1997. We have qualifications all the way from certificate level up to NQF level 10 doctorate degree. It's primarily all of our qualifications are commerce-related qualifications, and that is where our wheelhouse. We have offices in Observatory Cape Town, and we are for the most part a fully online university, a higher education institution, should I say, where we ensure that everything we offer can be done from the comfort of your own home. But from a guiding principle point of view, we just left that little snippet in there, where we want to provide trusted, leading learning journeys with high levels of holistic support that are accessible and transformative. So those are those are big words, but those are some of the words that we base the way that we deliver on. Next slide, thanks, Miller. So if you look at the School of Financial Services, we've got various programs. I just wanted to highlight those quickly. So we have 4 high certificate programs. We have a high certificate with a major in. We have a high certificate in banking services, 1 in financial planning, 1 in financial products, and 1 in short-term insurance. We have 3 advanced certificate qualifications. We have advanced certificates in banking services, financial planning, and short-term insurance. Then I also wanted just to allude to the BComs and BBAs. We have the School of Commerce, as I said, houses the BComs and BBAs, but there are specific streams of the BCom and BBA where the stream-specific modules are delivered through academics within our school. So I just want to touch on that, even though we're not going to go into detail. But on the BBA and BCom, we have a qualification with a major in banking. And then with the BComs, we also have majors in credit, financial planning, investment management, a double major in investments and banking, and lastly, a BCom with a major in short-term insurance. Then with regards to the postgraduate diplomas in our school that we offer, we have 3 currently that we're offering and a 4th one on the way. So 3 postgraduate diplomas we offer are a postgraduate in banking, postgraduate diploma in financial planning, and a postgraduate diploma in investment management. What is very exciting is we have a new postgraduate in risk management, which will be on offer from 2024. So please, keep your eye out for on social media, etc., just to hear when our registrations for 2024 open. That'll be another exciting offering from our school, which we are very excited about, and we are busy putting together all of the content at present and looking forward to next year. So those are the qualifications overall that we offer within our school. Next slide, they're similar. So with regards to the, I see there's similar struggling there with the slides. So with regards to our online learning environments, we're busy trying to do a reshare. I can keep going. That's all good. So with regards to our qualification, we offer it in a fully online environment, which means that from beginning to end, all your studies can take place within that virtual learning environment. So everything from beginning to end. When I say to end, I mean, I'm even talking about with the exams. We do the exams in an online learning environment where, for instance, we can have in Moodle exams, which are in our virtual learning environment exams. And those exams are conducted where it's fully proctored online with AI technology, which basically proctors you throughout your exam. So in other words, you can write your exam in the comfort of your own home, which is wonderful, and really does assist with the overall delivery of our qualifications. I see her that Samila is struggling, so I'm going to share from my computer while she sorts that out in the background. We'll see if she gets there first. We'll see who manages to get it right first. There she is. Brilliant. Okay, so we offer distance learning. So most to all of our qualifications, should I say, are offered through distance learning. The nice thing about that is you can pace it. You can go at your own pace, which I mentioned earlier. Assessment structures. So the way that most of our qualifications are run is we usually have 3 formative assessments, which combine to make up usually 30% of your undergraduate formative mark. We'll have usually, as I say, I'm saying usually because it's not always the same for all of them, but for most of our modules, we'll have 2 online tests and an assignment, which you submit for your formatives, and then we'll have a summative assessment, which will count 70% towards your overall mark. Now, with the final assessment, we usually have a sub-minimum mark of 40% you need to get in the final assessment, as well as a 50% obviously overall mark to pass. What I wanted to say about that, what is it? I'm trying to think. Yes, our summative assessments are proctored online examinations, which means that most of them are that. So that's what I was talking about earlier, where I said you can do everything online. So those will be in Moodle exams, what we call in Moodle exams, which you can basically do on the virtual learning environment. Sometimes we'll have online submissions as well for summatives. I know, for instance, for some of Tracy's modules, we'll have online submissions as the final summative assessment, but that's usually the rarity. Next slide there, similar. So this is just a quick couple of examples of the online environment. And I need to hurry up here because I see we're already running a bit late on time. So we have an overview tab when you land on the module course page. When you click on this course, this will be your landing page. Here you'll have your tutor forum. You'll have your assessment guidelines outlining everything about the module. You'll have your essay, your sample exams also usually loaded on that course page. Now, there's the tutor forum on that landing page. Now, if we go to the next slide, the tutor forum is a forum where one can ask 24 hours a day, ask questions to your tutor, any academic content related questions, and they'll come back to you within 24 to 48 hours. This is a resource which often is quite underutilized, and it's a wonderful resource to have because you have your tutor full-time available for you. So that's something I want to encourage you to always use if and when you join us at Milpark. But this is just an example of what it looks like. You'll add a question, and then the tutor will give you an answer back in the forum. And you can have to and fro with the lecturer there. Then next thing is we have the study material. That's under the content tab. You'll have your ebook, which your study guide, which will be available directly there, as well as your sample summative assessment. Sorry, that's actually under the content tab. Sorry, I'm not getting a bit ahead of myself there. I said it was on the overview tab. That's where you'll be able to find those resources. Next slide there, similar. We also then have a support material slide. Sorry, not slide, tab. That support material tab is where one can access topic-specific recordings. So usually for most of our modules, we'll have recordings for each specific topic, giving an overview of that topic with slides included for that. Just giving an overview of the content in the topic, which is obviously just a useful add-on to what you have in your study guide, which usually is pretty thorough. So it's just an add-on for that. We also then have the live at Milpark tab, which is also available. That is so the support material slide is for like recordings, those things, and any additional support material, like maybe additional work examples, etc. The live at Milpark tab is for our assignment prep sessions and our exam prep sessions. So assignment prep sessions is exactly as it sounds. The exam prep session is usually a session which runs where we'll be giving feedback on the assignment results. Usually the exam prep session will happen after assignment results releases happen, where we'll give feedback on areas of the assignment where students particularly struggled, maybe doing some additional worked examples to kind of re-emphasize kind of where students were struggling to understand. And it also just gives an opportunity for students to ask any questions before the exam, as well as just have questions answered that they maybe have wanted the lecturer to cover in those sessions before the exam, to just help in prep. Then we have the Proctorio Help tab. Now, I've mentioned a few times this proctoring software we use for our exams. This Proctorio Help tab is for all of our new students who then have never used that application on their laptops or before. So that is just a nice self-study tab where you can run through exactly how to use Proctorio, which is the application we use on exam day, and also often for online test twos, just to get you used to that application. Then we have the formative tab. Formative tab is where you'll be able to find, which is the next slide, where you're able to find your assignments, where you're able to find your assignment submission templates. You can download those and then upload your assignment when you finished filling in all your answers, and you're ready to submit your assignment by X due date, X, Y due date, whatever those are. Also on that tab is when your results are released, your formative results are released, that's also where your lecturer will load your assignment marking guidelines. So that's also where you'll find then your memo for the assignment, so you can see where you went wrong in the assignment. And then also that's where you can find your online tests, etc. Next slide. We then have a mock exam tab. That mock exam tab, usually I think it opens just after assignment or submitted and before the exam, somewhere in that window. Elmarie can give me a nod if I'm correct. Okay, and that is where that mock exam tab is very useful in that once you've worked through that Proctorio Help tab where you can understand the Proctorio app, this mock exam tab is a tab where you can go then and do a mock in Moodle exam before your exam day to kind of get used to how it's going to feel on the day, to actually firstly have the Proctorio app running, as well as then doing an in Moodle exam or an in virtual learning experience exam. So it's a tab which we use so people can practice what it feels like, and you can do multiple practices of your mock exam in the comfort of your home just to get used to the technology. Then lastly, we have the summative exam tab, and the summative exam tab is the tab where, as you can imagine, is exam you'll go to on your exam day. So there you'll have your exam instructions for the specific exam. Every exam has slightly different exam instructions outlining what your summative is going to be about and how it's going to run and how many hours you have and when you have to start and end by, etc. And from there, you'll be able to access the link to your exam on the exam day. So that's just a basic outline of what our online platform, virtual learning environment platform looks like. So now what we're going to do is we're going to move into the nitty-gritty, looking at the specific qualifications. And for the first two qualifications, I'm going to hand over to Tracy and Amelia to run us through that. Perfect. Over to you, Tracy.
It always helps when you can find the mute button. Thank you so much, David. Okay, hello everybody. My name is Tracy. I am one of the lecturers in the School of Financial Services. So I'm going to just run quickly through our higher certificate in banking services, and then I'm going to hand over to Amelia for a bit, and then you'll see me again for advanced certificate in banking services. All right, thanks, Amelia. You can move on. Okay, so that is an NQF 5 level qualification, our higher certificate, and that's because it is our entry level qualification. So who should study, or why would you study the HCBS with us? Because it's entry level, it's designed to equip students with the knowledge and skills you need to operate successfully in a specific entry position within an organization that promotes banking services. So this is not necessarily only for people who work for banks. It can also be for people who maybe work in microfinance, or even we've sometimes had students who are from the finance departments of, say, furniture stores and that kind of stuff. It's applicable to all of you. Okay. There's a continuous drive in the sector to employ qualified individuals or to upskill internal staff based on the regulatory and supervisory requirements. So we all know that since the introduction of the PHASE Act, there have been more and more requirements put on institutions and organizations to make sure that the employees have the requisite qualifications. And the wonderful thing about our qualifications is they are all PHASE accredited. Okay, so in an industry that is changing at an unprecedented pace and where traditional financial institutions are transforming and new competitors entering the market, individuals need to be equipped with skills and competencies that are future fit for new roles and job profiles. And for those of you who are currently in banking, you know how much your roles have changed over the last 4 or 5 years, even before that. I know that when I worked in the bank, our only thing we always used to say was, the only certainty is that there will be something new tomorrow. You can move on, Samila. So who should study with us? If you're a school leaver who wishes to enter a junior position in the financial services industry, this will give you a foot in the door, which I know for many of you is a great thing. A person who has achieved another qualification in an applied area or non-vocational area and who seeks a more banking-orientated qualification. I know that many people land up in the bank almost as a side, like, okay, I'll just try that. And they love it. And so now they need this qualification. This is the kind of qualification for you. Or an employed person wishing to enhance, develop, or formalize his or her skills and knowledge with a qualification in this particular area. So it's for a wide variety of people who are interested in banking. Samila? Okay. So the staff that are going to be helping you on your journey are Cephas Farici. He does, we'll get to that now, Charlotte Nguni, Hendrik Moropi, Hugo Lamprecht, Johan Potgieter, Tebogo Dambuza. And now I can't see it, so let me just move. Johan Potgieter, Tebogo Dambuza, then me, Tracy Wilcox, and finally Veronica Hardenberg. Samila. All right. So these are the modules that you are offered on this particular qualification. So the first 3, regulation and compliance in the banking industry, fundamentals of retail banking, and customer service and communication are all compulsory. Okay, you'll see that for the majority of our modules, the credits are 20, except for customer service and communication, which the credit count is 24, and then last at the end, fraud detection, which is 16. So Veronica Hardenberg will be looking after regulation and compliance in the banking industry. Johan Potgieter looks after fundamentals of retail banking and customer service and communication. Yeah, that's why I'm doing this, because I'm loud and wacky. That's mine. Tracy Wilcox. I also do the sales module, Introduction to Sales. Cephas Farici does fundamentals of economics. Charlotte Nguni looks after introduction to business management. And Hugo Lambrecht looks after personal and small business credit. Hendrik Moropi looks after principles of accounting, but that will also be looked after by Johan Potgieter, depending on the model of that you do. And then fraud detection is looked after both by Tebogo Dembuza and Veronica Hardenberg. You'll notice that you need to do the first 3. So out of your 6 modules that you're going to choose, you have to do the first 3, and then you choose another 3 based on the stream that you're going to choose out of those electives. All right. Okay. Then we have our cycles. This is our core product offering. And you'll see you can do accounting and introduction to business management in cycle 1. Then you get me, customer service, in cycle 2, which runs from March to May. In cycle 3, you have a choice between fraud or economics, which is May to July. Then you have fundamentals of retail banking in cycle 4, July to August. And then you have compliance, regulatory compliance in August to October. And then finally, in the final WAG at the end of the year, we have a choice between credit or sales. And we know you won't mind, hey? So I'm going to hand you over to Amelia Johnson, who is our program manager for all of our programs in the banking and investment department.
I see that Amelia is also now struggling with her volume, and Similar's presentation went down at the same time. It's perfect timing.
Oh, you can hear me.
There we have.
I did not press the mute button, but you can hear me.
We can hear you. But now we've lost your slides, Amelia. So we're gonna test you and see if you can remember what was on your slides.
Okay,
there it comes back.
I can wing it.
There we go, brilliant.
Okay, you see my name popped up to one of the people that assist you. I'm not an academic, I'm the program manager. So I like to think of myself as the role where I support students with the academic. So I have a more holistic role, something that's not academic or administrative on the program. Please feel free to ask me. So I do guidance, directions, module choices, anything that you feel is overwhelming, you can basically contact me and I will either point you in the direction or 9 out of 10, I'll actually be able to help you. So as the program manager, I'm the first go-to besides your student handbook that you can reach out to. Because that's your Bible, your student handbook. If you can't find the answer in there, I will help you. Okay. And then I'll also walk you through the admission. The next slide. Okay, so on the higher certificate, the requirements is 40% in English. That is because our main language of study is English. So you need to be sure that you are able to understand the questions, do your assignment in English. So 40% for English, and we do need your matric certificate to be able to verify that. If you have not done 40% in English, in matric, but you've been working, we can then consider RPO admission, where we look at your work experience, and obviously you need to converse in English, and we can then grant admission of RPO, which is recognition to prior learning. Just to give you an idea, this qualification can be done in 1 year. It's 120 credits each, And then there's just a breakdown of how the credits are split up. So you can decide if you have 1,200 hours available for the year, you'll be able to complete it in the year. But you can chat to me, we can look at it. It's quite fast paced. Sometimes it's better to split it over 2 years. But that's an indication to see if you can complete it within 1 year. Thank you. Over to Tracy. Oh, sorry, this was the rules of progression. There's 6 modules you can complete. Tracy already said there's 3 you complete. That's compulsory. And then there's 3 elective modules. So if you try an elective, you don't pass it, or it's not for you, you can repeat a different elective, but it will obviously take a little bit more time. So when you choose your elective, I can also give you some guidance in regards to that. Okay, thank you. Okay, let me see. Once you've completed your qualification, you have 120 credits. You can then move on to our advanced certificate in banking, which is on NQF level 6. With the advanced certificate in banking, there's certain modules that are very technical. So if your desire is to move on, I will give you more direction of which modules to choose as electives. And then obviously if you want to move on to BCom, with a completed level 5, you can also go straight into a BCom. And there'll be a few modules that might be exempted. That's why it's important to speak to me, because I can give you all that guidance at the beginning. Okay, thank you. Tracy, if you can get a mute button.
I forgot I was on mute. I'm that person. Okay. All right. Advanced Certificate in Banking Services, our NQF level 6 module. So this is moving on a little bit. Smila? Oops, it looks like it. So why should you study the advanced certificate with us? It's a second level higher education qualification. So it's designed to equip students with knowledge and skills to operate professionally in a junior position in an organization that promotes banking services. You will notice when we look at some of the modules that there's a few that are around management. So it's looking at our junior managers and supervisors and team leaders that are working in a banking or finance environment. There's a continuous drive in the sector to employ qualified individuals, which is what we said before. So, and it's always good for you personally as a bank official that you are constantly looking to see how you can improve yourself. I always remember that in our bank, we were told, this is, you craft your own career. So no one's going to sit and go and point to you and say, no, you should be doing this and you should be doing that. You need to put your hand up and say, I want to do this. And this is to help you get to that next level. It's a little bit more technical, and the streams that you can choose are a little bit more technical or more stream-based, shall I say. So you're going to be focusing more in one area or another. Okay. However, banking as an industry has been widely disrupted for a while already, and this is expected to continue. With major technological advancements come a focus on the sale of more universal but also non-traditional banking products, as well as a drive for compliance and risk management, and challenges like fraud and financial crime. So as you can see, you can already see some of the distinct breakdowns of the way you can focus. Next slide, please, Samila. Or not? Okay. Apparently now I have to tell the joke. And then we're going to have a real problem. Okay, there it comes. Next slide. Thank you. So who should study with us? A person who's completed the higher certificate in banking services or a similar qualification and then wants to take their foundational banking knowledge a step higher. or an employed person who wishes to enhance, develop, or formalize his skills and knowledge with a qualification in banking services. As I said, under the higher certificate, sometimes people start in a different field altogether and move into banking. I know I used to work with people who started off as teachers and didn't like it and moved into banking and loved it. So banking is, you don't have to start as a banker, but you'll end up as a banker and just want to stay. So in that case, this is something that you should be looking at doing, the advanced certificate, so that you will be able to increase your knowledge of banking and prepare yourself as a junior manager or moving on to some form of senior management later on. Next slide. All right. So those of us helping you on this advanced certificate journey include Hugo Lamprecht, Conroy Jacobs, Maritza Grewe, Simba Tibape, Johan Potgieter, Teboko Dambuza, me again, Tracy Wilcox, and Veronica Hardenberg. All right. Next up. Okie dokie. So similarly to the higher certificate, you have 3 compulsory modules. Those are bank management, run by Simba Tibape, sorry, Simba. Banking and business law, run by Veronica Hardenberg, and risk management in banking, which is run by Simba Tibape. Then you will also have the option to do applied financial accounting, which is Johan Potgieter, banking without boundaries, Hugo Lamprecht, business credit, also Hugo Lamprecht, compliance techniques and strategies, run by Conroy Jacobs, finance for managers, also run by Johan Potgieter, financial crime by Conroy Jacobs, fraud examination, Teboko Dambuza, principles of human resource management, Maritza Grewe, and sales management, which is run by myself. As I said, do you notice how many of these have management in it? Because this is preparing you for junior management. Okay, thanks. Next. Next slide, please. Yeah. We seem to have frozen. Camila? Oh, okay. Must I speak about the cycle? I'm going to speak about the cycles, even though you can't see it. But when you register, Amelia will help you through that anyway. So our cycles, cycle 1 from January to March will be for business banking and law. Business and banking law, sorry. Then cycle 2, which is March to May, will be bank management. Then in cycle 3, depending on which stream you choose, you have a choice between sales management, applied financial accounting, and financial crime. In cycle 4, you have, again, based on your stream, you have a choice between banking without boundaries, HR management, fraud examination, and compliance techniques and strategies. In cycle 5, in August to October, you have a choice between financial management, B-Cred, which is business credit, and fraud examination. You can do it in either cycle 4 or cycle 5. And then last up, just for your final year, hurrah, you will do risk management in banking. Okay, and right, where we are. So some of the modules have what we call prerequisites. Prerequisites are things that you have to have done before in order to be able to do this particular module. So for instance, if you are wanting to do applied financial accounting or finance for managers, you must have done principles of accounting or an equivalent level 5 accounting module in order to be able to be accepted for those 2 modules. And then business credit is even more exciting because you have to have done applied financial accounting before you are able to do business credit. And the reason we do that is to ensure that you are successful in those modules. So if you don't have those prerequisites, it's almost impossible for you to actually be successful and pass that module. Well, that's all for me. So I'm going to sign off now. So thank you so much, guys, and all the best. And I'm handing back to Amelia.
Hi, everyone. Milpark again. As the program manager, I'll help you from the start to the end. So with admission requirements, these are the requirements for this qualification. A completed relevant banking qualification. So anything listed below that falls into the banking category, you can get admission onto it. Depending on the modules you've done, as certain modules have prerequisites, you can either get full admission or you can get admission with the condition you can't do the technical modules, like Tracy pointed out. If you have an NQF5, but it's not banking specific, we can look at recognition to prior learning, which means you have a different NQF5, but you have sufficient experience in the banking industry. Then we'll require your updated comprehensive CV and also a letter confirming your current position. Then we can always go the RPL route. Or if we find out that you don't have that, we can maybe recommend you do the NQF5 first. But with advanced, we need you to have a basic understanding. Otherwise, you will find challenging. Rules of progression, the same with the other qualification, 6 modules to complete, 120 credits. You have 3 compulsory modules and you have 3 elective modules. Your elective modules is obviously based on what you would like to do and if you met all the prerequisites, like the principles of accounting and things like that before you can choose electives. So it's very important to know that. Okay, next slide. Okay, so once you've completed the level 6, it's also 120 credits. You can then decide to move on to a Bachelor of Commerce level 7 degree with your NQF level 7 with one of the majors that you choose. Again, any modules you complete which have an overlap, you can get exempted for. But before you do the advanced certificate, you need to be sure of your journey. If you want to do a 5, you can go straight on to a 7 because that's a requirement. But if you want to do a 1 year, get it for work, you can always still move on to a 7. So you go 5, 6, and 7. Yeah, and then that's basically what you get with your NQF level 6 qualification. You can articulate onto a 7. Okay, that's all from my side for this qualification. Thank you so much. I'm going to hand over to Stanton. He's going to do the postgraduate diploma in banking, our NQF level 5 qualification. Thanks, Stanton. Over to you. Mic, mute. Stanton, you can just check that you don't have 2 screens open. That's why I struggled to find my unmute button. I actually had 2 screens open. So maybe just check.
Stanton, maybe remove your headphones and unplug them. Let's try again. I can't seem to unmute Stanton, so I will ask Stanton to please log off and then log in again. Apologies, everyone. In the meantime, can we maybe move to to Jürgen, who will take us through his qualification?
Okay, sure. If you go to slide 43.
Okay, just a moment. There we go.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Jürgen. I'm the head of the Department for Investments. And next slide, please. Okay, so why would you study the postgraduate diploma in investment management? The PGDIP is specifically targeted at individuals who want to broaden their knowledge of investments and financial instruments. It covers a very broad range of outcomes, and therefore individuals can apply themselves in a very diverse set of roles within the financial services industry. Typical examples would be where you can choose to specialize in either equities, fixed income, or derivatives. And then when you enter the industry, you would usually start as an analyst, but as you progress over time, you can work your way up as a portfolio manager. Other fields that are also becoming more popular in the investment industry includes private equity, hedge funds, risk management, and we've also been finding that people in the stockbroking background and even people in the wealth management background have been interested in this. From a wealth management perspective, you do find that sometimes you service very high net worth clients, and then it is expected of the advisor in that case to have a more in-depth knowledge of the products that they work with. And then lastly, the investment industry is an ever-evolving industry and is sure to provide ambitious individuals with a rewarding career. Thank you, Samila. So in terms of the staff that are going to be helping you on the journey, I'm the oversight owner. Amelia would be the program manager, and then the lecturers, myself, then Shameen Nkuna, Nicolette Brouwer, and Stanton Lesh. So more about me. So I've worked in the investment industry for quite a few years, and I've been working with Milpark for the last 5 years. Initially, I started as a part-time academic where I lectured investment management and investment planning. Then I was afforded the opportunity to join Milpark as a lecturer, and I've now progressed to the head of the Department for Investments. Now, for me personally, this is about giving back to society and to help students achieve their goals. So in terms of what I love about postgraduate diploma in investment management, in the interest of time, the students, I think it's about you, the people that we work with. Being a student-facing lecturer for quite a few years, is that interesting conversations that you have when a student comes to you with that for help. And then also helping a student progress throughout time where they struggle with the problem, and then seeing them succeed in their studies and hopefully then going on to be very successful in their career. Next slide, please. So the modules that you have on the PGDIP, you will start with an introduction to the program. That's run by Amelia. Then you've got business ethics and corporate governance, equities and fixed income that I teach. Then there's a short course called Finance for Non-Financial Managers that's presented by Nicolette Brouwer. You are required to do that if you don't have a background in financial management. So it's not for everybody. Then there's a module in alternative investments, derivatives, and portfolio management. I'm also currently looking after that. Then it's followed by a module on financial reporting, analysis, and corporate governance. That's where we look at financial statements. It fits in very nicely on the equities part of the first module. That's taught by Nicolette. Then towards the end, there's an investment code of ethics module. It is focused on the CFA Institute Code of Ethics and Standards of Professional Conduct textbook. Although we're not aligned with the CFA Institute, you will get exposure to that. Then there's a module on research methodology that's taught by Shami Nukuna. And then there's an economics and statistics project that I also look after. Next slide, please. In terms of the cycles, we've got 4 blocks. In block 1, you're going to look at the equities and fixed income module, and also the business ethics and corporate governance module. That runs from February to April. Then in block 2, we've got the module on alternative investments, derivatives, and portfolio management. That runs from April to July. In block 3, we've got business research and the economics and statistics research project. That runs from July to September. And in the last block, we've got the financial reporting and financial analysis and the ethics module that runs from September to December. I think maybe is Stanton online again? Okay, doesn't appear so. I'm then going to hand over to Amelia just to discuss the admission requirements, and this would be for both qualifications, I would think.
Okay, both qualifications has similar admission requirements. It is slightly different, so I'll just go through that when Stanton is back up with banking. For investments, you need a relevant NQF level 7 qualification. That will include anything that's finance related, and you have to have done finance management as one of your modules in your undergrad as part of the admission requirements. If you have not done a relevant NQF level 7, we will take into consideration exposure in the industry. So it's very important to include your CV and also your confirmation of current employment. Experience. So we do have quite a small number of students that actually apply via our route. Next slide, please. Okay. As part of rules of progression, you are required to do 7. I'm just going to carry on. You are required to 125. There is 5 core compulsory modules, and there is a combination of 2 elective modules. So even though it is an elective, you are required to do both electives. One is a economics and statistic research-based project. The other one is research methodology. So both electives must be done on this qualification. That's part of the rules of progression. And like I've mentioned previously, if financial management has not been completed in your undergrad, we will recommend that you do start with completing a short course, which is finance for non-financial managers. You have to pass that with 60% or more before we can consider you into the full admission. We can also do something called conditional admission, where we allow you to just register for one module at a time. Only after passing that can you carry on and register for more modules then. Like Jürgen explained, there's different blocks. So with full admission, you can register for all your modules. Conditional, one module at a time. Okay, the last slide is just on completion on the NQF level 8, which is 125 credits. You can move on to the MBA program. One of the modules can actually be exempted for as you go on, which is the business ethics and corporate governance. So even though you've done that module on level 8, we do have a similar module on the NQF level 9 that you can get one exemption for, which obviously reduces the amount of time that you complete the MBA program. Okay, that's all from my side. I am going to go through the admissions for PG Dip in banking while we try to get Stanton online before we take the questions. Is that fine, Almarie? Okay, next slide. There we go. PGDIP in banking, also NQF level 8 qualification. The requirements is a completed NQF level 7. With banking, there is more specialized and industry-specific knowledge required. So we are looking at specific banking modules that you've completed. Not like with investment where it's anything in the financial industry with work experience. With banking, you need banking experience and a related NQF level 7 experience. If you don't have banking specific modules, we can recommend bridging modules, which is normally 2 modules on NQF level 7, specialized banking modules, which you do in 1 semester. You need to pass with about 60-65% before we will consider full admission onto PGDIP in banking. We have quite a few RPL applications, which means people have been working in the bank for years, they have experience, they just don't have the relevant qualification. We can look at conditional or RPL admission, but the minimum requirement is at least the NQF level 5 with 10 years or more extensive experience in the bank. They will consider RPL admissions in the bank. So we do get a lot of students that don't have the formal qualification, so they do an NQF 6 for 1 year. Instead of doing a banking with the experience, they then do the RPL route. Just with regards to rules of progression, we have 7 core modules and 1 elective module. Next slide, Jamila. Samila. 7 compulsory modules, 1 elective module. So it's a total of 8 modules. Minimum credits are 125 as well. The PGDIP in banking is also offered in blocks. So it can be done in 1 year. Depending on the amount of hours you have available, we'll recommend a split over 2 years. We have specific modules if you choose to do it over 1.5 to 2 years, based on what we want, the progression we want to follow. So this particular program, you have to start in block 1 or wait for the next academic year. Unfortunately, you can't start now, but your admission can be done now. Your registration will only be at the beginning of the next year. And that's just how the modules were set up in the blocks. If we don't have Anton, I can try and work through the content because I do understand the qualification, beginning of the level 8. So Mila, can you just confirm if Stanton's back on, if we're still having trouble joining us?
No, we're still having
Stanton. We're still having problems with Stanton. So you or David can take on this one.
Yeah, look, the nice thing is that Amelia is almost as much of an expert as Stanton, so I'm sure she can take us through it either way.
Okay, floor is yours, Amelia.
Okay.
I couldn't build it up too much.
Amelia.
I didn't want Stanton to look bad, so that was a.
Okay, Stanton can speak more into detail if you do join us as to who does it and what it is. The information is in the slides, but we have quite a lot of banking professions that's interested in this qualification. The numbers have definitely grown. So the banking space is probably, we've got a lot of new technology and models added to it that makes this a very interesting qualification to do. Stanton Lesh is the oversight manager of the qualification. I'm the program manager. Your lecturers on the qualification include Stanton Lesh, Samira Zaid, Nicolette Bauer, and Shamin Nakuna. Okay, you can move on to the next slide, Jamila. Samila. Okay, I have not been working for 9 years with Milpark. I've been working there a bit longer. This is Stanton's details on the slide. But he's been with Milpark for a very long time. He's very knowledgeable. He's a great guy. You can read a bit more of Stanton here. He's been in the academic industry for 9 years with Milpark. And yeah, you can read a little bit more of him there. Can I skip to the next slide? Okay, I can definitely speak through the program with you. So the induction is run by myself as the program manager. The induction is a self-study program. We try and do a welcome, but we have 2 intakes where you can do the induction. But it's more to familiarize yourself with our platform, what is expected, some pre-readings, how to answer assignments, plagiarism rules, turn it in. All those things are covered in the induction program, which you work through on your own. But any questions can be directed to me and I will help you. And that's basically done before you start with your full modules. Banking project is a research-based, project-based one. The banking project has 2 subcategories that you can choose from. So it's divided into retail banking or corporate and investment banking. So you register for banking project, but then you choose your specialized field. We always recommend that you choose something that you're familiar with, just makes it easy. But if it is something that you aim to go into, like corporate and investments, and you're currently in retail, you can speak to the lecturer and he'll give you some guidance as to which one to choose. Banking regulations is a short regulatory module, 5 credits. It's done over 3 to 4 weeks, also compulsory. And that is done in together with business and corporate governance. So business ethics and corporate governance is a more global one, where we have specific banking regulations to supplement that module on this qualification. Bank risk management, 20 credits modules. That is done by Stanton Lesh. That module is run in block 2, so also compulsory. And then we have social responsibility and environmental management. That is a compulsory module, 15 credits. That's a very nice module where you work together in a group. You choose an organization, an NGO, you put together a presentation and you present it to the panel. So that module can also be exempted if you do decide to move on to MBA. Research and methodology, that's the same research module that's offered on the PGDIP in banking as well. That does not have an exemption on to MBA, but it really does help you how to structure your assignments, how to answer research-based questions and things like that. So it's helpful to do that if you are planning to go on to MBA as well. Then we have the International Bank Management Strategy, compulsory module offered in the last block of the year. And then we have our 2 elective modules, financial reporting and analysis and corporate finance. That is run by Nicolette Bauer. That's an elective with 25 credits. That's quite a technical module. We don't recommend that you do both modules at the same time because IBMS and FRAF runs together. Again, you need to look at the credits and look at the available time you have. And then the other elective that we can choose from is strategic management, done by Dr. Hoffman. And that is an elective that also runs in the last block. It's a bit more manageable to do that with IMS if you want to do that in block 4. Here you can have a look at the cycles. We've grouped it together that makes it manageable, but it depends on the student profile. So this is if you're doing it in 1 year, there is a specific split if you want to do it over 2 years. Thanks for bringing up the cycles for us, Samila. Yeah, so registration for each block closes a week before the start date. The start date will be communicated on our letter, but it's normally beginning of February, mid-April, beginning of July, mid-September. So it runs in 10-week blocks. Okay. And this is my admission and requirements, which I've already touched on. And yeah, with admissions, if you don't have the full experience and we assess your portfolio or what you've submitted on your request, we will definitely try to accommodate you with conditional admission or bridging modules. And we'll try to help, because this is a very specialized qualification. So you need to work in the bank to understand certain terminology. If we think that you will struggle, we will always try and guide you. And that we do with our academics and with your profile as a student. Thank you. I think Almari can take over from me.
Thanks.
If there's
Thanks
any
so much.
questions, I think
so
I've
much.
covered everything.
That's great. Before I hand it over back to Almari, I just wanted to just reiterate something which you did allude to while you were talking, but I think it is worthwhile reiterating quickly, is that something just to remember for all the prospective students for the PGD in investment management or the PGD in banking is that, as Amelia alluded to, roughly there'll usually be a couple of electives on each of the qualifications. It's either one or two on each qualification, it depends, of roughly 10 to 30 credits, which if you write and pass those in your PGD with us, you can then theoretically take those credits over to the MBA if you decide to register for the MBA, and then you've already got somewhere between 10 and 30 credits for your MBA. I can't remember the exact numbers off the top of my head, but something along those lines. So that's something which has also been built into this program to allow for, if there is articulation to our MBA in Milpark Business School, at least you do get those credits. So that's a wonderful value add in if you choose to study those qualifications. That's just one thing I wanted to quickly add. Sorry, back to you then, Almari.
Hello, everybody. This brings us to the end of our session. Just wanting to find out if there's any questions that you've got that we can possibly answer for you. If you can type it at the bottom, you'll see ask a question.
I see at the moment there's nothing there at the moment.
If I can just apologize, unfortunately, technology has not been our friend today. So we are running slightly over the time. Apologies for that. But then if there's no questions, we are available on social media. You can go to our website to get more information on us. And if you need, there's also a button there, register for our semester 2 intake. So please feel free to, if you're interested, to register, or even in the poll, you can, as David mentioned initially, you can actually complete the poll, and then we can contact you to assist you with registration if you're interested.
100%. And I think it's always important for you guys to also know that as you know, as a school, we are always available and open to you. Look, the nice thing is that you can either ask a lot of questions either through student services and or by reaching out directly to a program manager like Amelia, where a lot of the questions can be answered. We are particularly keen on, as Amelia alluded to, for instance, on the PGDs, those intakes can sometimes have an availability for RPL, for access, which, you know, in the past we've seen a lot of success, especially on the banking side, with people who have many years of banking experience. We've had a few great students who've come through that route and have done incredibly well. So that is something which I'm happy that Amelia was able to allude to. I see that we have got no questions, which is great. So we can pretty much finish off our session now, unless there's anything else that needs to be added from Jurgen. And I don't think there is. So yeah, I want to check here, Samila should be with us. So yeah, thank you very much to all of you who were able to join us today. Thanks for making the time to join us. Apologies for the technical issues there with Stan, and a couple of the times with the sharing of the slides, but it's all good. I guess we're all getting used to that in this new world. So that's all good. Thanks so much for joining us today. We look forward to hearing from some of you in future, and we look forward to welcoming you into our school next year or this semester. All the best for the rest of your day. Cheers, guys.